Hi everyone, welcome for this small session on what are Bitcoins and blockchain. I am Muthuram from Indigenous Tech Private Limited. First of all, let's see what is Bitcoin. Bitcoin, symbolically represented with the letter BTC, is a cryptocurrency. A cryptocurrency is nothing but a digital currency which is getting released by using a cryptography technology. Okay, it is also called a virtual currency because this currency you cannot feel it by normal touch and feel like you feel a Indian, let us say 100 rupees note or coin. So this Bitcoin is a cryptocurrency and it is a virtual currency which can be used for as a form of payment, like we pay through Indian rupee. We can pay this Bitcoin. It will have its own value. And the main advantage of this Bitcoin is there is no control of this Bitcoin by any bank or by any government or by any third party involvement. It is totally generated, dispersed, controlled, and its transactions are maintained by means of computer software. So that is Bitcoin. Now, what are the uses of this Bitcoin? So this Bitcoin can be transferred between two users, like we transfer money, let's say from one bank account to another bank account. Nowadays we use UPI, like one UPI app, you can transfer money to somebody else. Similarly, the Bitcoins can be transferred from one user to other user. Both the users need to have a wallet. We call Bitcoin wallet. It is a software which we need to get installed into your laptop or mobile or any other device. Here, the very important factor is when you create a Bitcoin wallet address for you, it will create an alphanumeric address. It will not ask any personal particulars. It will just require you need a mail ID and a password. That's all. So you are done with your wallet creation and your own account, which will be alphanumeric address. Using that, we can transfer Bitcoin from one alphanumeric address to other address. Now, the other use of Bitcoin is we can also invest in Bitcoin, like we are investing in shares. Like, for example, you can go and purchase a Bitcoin and keep it in your account or in a wallet. Whenever the price of Bitcoin internationally, the Bitcoin values are getting determined by demand and supply. So when it's a profitable, you can sell it off and make profits. And when you are not, the prices are not conducive, you will keep it like you are doing a shares. Here also, we need to pay a percentage of tax, particularly in India. It's around 30% of the profit what you make. Okay. Also, the Bitcoins can be used for purchasing products or services. For example, you can purchase a TV or a Tesla car by using Bitcoins. However, some of the countries, including India, right now are not allowing this type of usage. Within India, you can invest in Bitcoins like shares, but you cannot use a Bitcoin as a payment currency. That India still needs to approve that, Indian government. Okay. But some of the Western countries like US or European Union countries, UK, China, Russia, Korea, these countries do permit usage of Bitcoins for purchasing product and services. Now, what is a blockchain? Now, we have just uh, learned about Bitcoins. Now, the platform which is required to create or generate and disperse and also track and approve the transaction of Bitcoins between two addresses. These all activities needs to be done. For this, the Bitcoin owners or the Bitcoin releasing team have introduced or designed a technological platform called blockchain platform technology. So this Bitcoin is a product of or the output of the blockchain technology. So blockchain technology is a platform and Bitcoin is a outcome. Okay. Now, what is a blockchain transaction? When you transfer a Bitcoin between two users or two addresses, then it is called a transaction. The transfer can take place for transferring Bitcoin from person A to person B or address A to address B, or it may be a buyer and seller. Suppose a person wants to purchase a TV, let's say in America. So the buyer will transfer Bitcoins to the TV shop owner or TV firm which is selling the TV, okay, TV sales place, right? So that is called a transfer of a transaction in a Bitcoin. Now, why at all Bitcoin is called as, why at all blockchain is called as blockchain? So we have blocks. What are these blocks? Whenever transaction takes place on Bitcoin, transferring the Bitcoins, these transactions normally are put into a frame called block. You can see in the picture the block transaction 1, 2, and something like that. So these are time bound. For example, at this given time frame, let's say around 100 transactions are there in the network of the blockchain network. Then these transactions will be drawn into a block, and the block will be made out of a transaction. Normally, the size used to be 1 megabyte. How many transactions will comes into that? Then there is a process of approving the block, and that block become the next block. And every 10 minutes in blockchain, a new block is getting made. There is a big process behind that. Maybe in the next video, I'll talk about it in detail. Now, one block is chained to other block through a cryptographic based link. For example, here block 6 you are seeing it and block 7 you are seeing it. The block 7 will have a header which will be the hashed output of blockchain 6 header and other info. So the header of the previous block is getting hashed into the current block. That way they're chained together. That's why it is called blocks plus chain is equal to blockchain. Okay. Now, how the blockchain technology started with, or where is the origin? A group of people led by Satoshi Nakamoto is still an invisible person. His name is available in the records, but he is not traceable as on today. So based on the information available in the log records of blockchain, people have figured it out. There was a person, and along with him, some team people also were there, called Satoshi Nakamoto. He has uploaded the blockchain technology or the software into a public repository in May 2009 and started this blockchain. Afterwards, is not traceable. Now, a group of people are trying to oversee the blockchain functioning. However, the blockchain functions automatically as per the design and plan of this team till today. So the main motto of the blockchain technology, which was released by Satoshi Nakamoto and others, is release the Bitcoin every 10 minutes. There is a huge process and learning involved, which I will talk in detail in coming videos. So every 10 minutes, some amount of Bitcoins are released and credited to some of the so-called we call miners. And then that way it is getting released. And wherever the transactions are there, those transactions are validated by a method called consensus. And then that will be put in a block. And every 10 minutes, a new block is added to the blockchain, Bitcoin blockchain. Okay. Now, if you want to give you a holistic view of Bitcoin and blockchain, you can see there Bitcoin is a virtual or digital or cryptocurrency. Blockchain is underlying technology for Bitcoin. You can see here. And Bitcoin blockchain, because a lot of blockchains have come, we can call this first blockchain as a Bitcoin blockchain, was developed and released for use, as I mentioned earlier, by an untraceable person, namely Satoshi Nakamoto in May 2009, with the purpose of generating, distributing, verifying, and recording transaction of Bitcoins across the globe. Now, the key features of blockchain technology. If you ask why we should use blockchain technology in our required scenarios, the blockchain has got beautiful characters, which creates a new paradigm in the technology IT stack. The blockchain transactions which are recorded as part of the block are immutable. Once it is recorded, it cannot be updated or modified or deleted. It is secured by using cryptographic based technology or hashing functions, we call it, and it is transparent. It is nothing like you are hiding a transaction. It is we call a public blockchain. Anybody who can log into or joining the Bitcoin blockchain network, we call as a node, they can see the transaction. It is transparent and shared. This uses a technology called digital ledger technology, where it is fully shared to all the nodes. So all the node users or node holders can see the transaction details from which address to which address the transaction has happened. That and all you can see. But the only thing is the address belongs to whom? That is not available in the blockchain. Now it takes less time for transactions across the globe. Minimum transaction fee is charged on the transaction. It avoids double spending, normally a big problem in the banking sector. And as I told you, users are not directly identifiable from the address perspective. Now, what are the key technologies or concepts used? We use cryptography. The blockchain uses cryptography, basically hash function, private public key pairs, digital addresses, then electronic wallets for storing or transferring the Bitcoins. Nodes, these are all the computers which are getting connected to the Bitcoin network. Distributed network, this is a very different protocol where there is no client server architecture. The servers are distributed and each server is at the same level, or each node is at the same level of others. So there is no third party control over the transaction of the information. Then there is something called protocol peer-to-peer network. Suppose a person A sends Bitcoin to person B, the communication will move such a way, the fastest way between the two peers will be followed. That is, there is a protocol written for that, and that is an additional technical innovation by Satoshi Nakamoto and team. And then we have got distributed ledger technology. It is just opposite of database. Database normally is centralized. All the transaction will come and store in database. Here also a similar concept. All the transactions will be there in the ledger, but the ledger can be shared. So it is like database, which is a shared database concept, something like that. So distributed ledger technology enables that. Then Merkle tree uses a easy storage of the transaction validation. And mining is a concept by which many of the miners will make the different blocks, and based on consensus basis, one of the block will be voted, what we call actually proof of work concept, and accepted block will be coming to as a next new block. That's a mining and consensus mechanism. Proof of work is nothing but a puzzle. You can say a puzzle to find out a particular number that has been generated as a part of the software. Normally, the puzzle will be solved by miners. Whoever solves first will get uh, the mining reward, which is nothing but number of bitcoins authorized at that time. So now Bitcoin started with so many bitcoins for every miner, and then now every 4 years it is getting halved. This all the miner details we'll discuss in the next video probably. Then consensus mechanism is, suppose there are 100 nodes are available, and then 51 nodes needs to vote at that particular time. 100 nodes are available, 51 nodes have to vote for a block to get its approval as a candidate block for the next addition to the as a next block. Now the process goes like this. All the miners will try to make one block, and then whosoever finds out the answer for the proof of work, that node will declare that node will declare the answer has been found out. All other nodes will verify the answer and then vote for it. If 51% and above number of nodes is voting for that particular block, and that block will become the next block. Now, anonymity and pseudonymity, as well as longest chain rule and block confirmations, are additional concepts available in blockchain, which we will discuss in our subsequent videos. Now, what is a typical use case for a blockchain? So one of the rare or most useful uh, use case is land registration related problem. Now and every day almost every day we hear some news through the media. The land has been grabbed by some people by modifying the land records, or there is some collusion takes place with the land record owners, officials, with the other people, influencers. So finally a genuine candidate loses the land in the court of law or when the inquiry goes. Now this all happens because of one problem. As on today, if you take Indian states, any state, most of them are computerized the land registration, whether it's a house or flat or the normal land, all of them are registering through a computerized method. So what they do, the owner and the buyer, their details and the land details, record details, and amount for which it is purchased, all the things will be stored in computer during registration day. Then only the sale deed will be completed and released. Now the registered record is available in a database, which is centralized. For example, in a particular state, the databases are controlled by only few people, and are not few people, the registration officers. Now, these land, fraud people, or those who want to do fraud, if they can manage to manipulate the central database, then the records can be manipulated and the original owner may be replaced with some other owner in the electronic record. So when they have done that, all other documentation people can probably manage. So a typical case could be, if your owner finds a land is occupied, he goes and gets what we called a land encumbrance certificate. Unfortunately, the certificate will be issued based on the land record maintained in the computer database. Now the database already manipulated. Then what happens? The land record fraud happens. Now instead of the database, the single source of truth, if you use a blockchain, the advantage is now the blockchain, that land transaction will be entered as a transaction. The land registration will be entered as a transaction in the blockchain. And these transaction in blockchain, by virtue of its characteristics or technological advancement, immutable, secured, anybody can see, and the historical transaction are available and cannot be modified at all. So there are number of nodes possible in blockchain. For example, there will be around 10 nodes, let us say in a state. One will be held with the registration office, other can be held with, let's say, a public representative, another can be registered with a minister or some secretary. If one of the land registration office, somebody modifies the record, it will not allow to modify, it will collapse by forcibly or trying to access. Then what happened? The moment he connects to internet, all other nodes, one of the nearest nodes will copy the complete that digital, that is distributed ledger technology based tables onto that, the original records will be restored. In short, once a transaction made and recorded in a blockchain, that cannot be modified at all. I think this centralized DB versus distributed ledger technology will fix, and some of the states like Andhra, earlier Andhra government has done a pilot study and they're very successful in their endeavor. I think hopefully most of the Indian states will start using this technology. I think some of the pilot projects have been done in some of the states. I think very encouraging results are seen. So hopefully our whole India will use the blockchain technology going forward for land registration. So we will stop hearing the news of land frauding at all. With this, I think we have come to the end of the session. We do offer blockchain related trainings, workshops, internships, and college projects in our company. So you can visit our website, you can mail us, or you can contact us through WhatsApp. Till we meet in the next video, bye. Good luck. Thank you.